Okay, we can move on. We can move on now. We can move on now. And remember, you can always chat me up through the chat box so that you can ask your question as we move on. Eventually, if you have anything, you can raise your hand, ask the question. I will respond from here and I will answer your question. So back to Power BI. Before we go into what we have for today, this is my Power BI icon. Mr. Solomon, I guess you were able to install Power BI eventually. And this is my Power BI icon, so I double click to open Power BI. That was the point where we ended our class. So as Power BI is opening now, wait for it to open. Okay, thank God you installed it. So then you will see the report here. As a beginner, you click on reports, and that opens you up to the Power BI interface. What you can see now is the Power BI interface. What you can see now is the Power BI interface. Remember, I told you that you have the file menu, you have the home, the insert, the modeling, view, and the rest of them. The first bar at the top here is the title bar, and below the title bar is the menu bar. Now below the menu bar we have the ribbon. The ribbon displays the commands in the active tab. If you click on home, these are the commands in home. Home now becomes the active tab. You click on insert, these are the commands. So you will notice the changes that occur whenever you click on any of the tabs. Then I showed you the three core views of Power BI. And I told you that with the recent version, you might see the fourth one, which is not that much significant in what we're doing for now. Now you look at the report view. You look at the table view and you see the model view. The report view is used for creating reports. The table view is used when you want to view. Yes, DAX is there. Well, yes, the one you downloaded as DAX, that's no problem. DAX is a portion of Power BI. We'll call it data analysis expression. It is the mathematical engine that controls Power BI. We'll get there. We'll get there. You are still in order. Now we have, yes, as one of the view tabs, yes, that is an improvement that Power BI did. That DAX you saw also is located inside one of these menus too, but they decided to bring it out here. Gideon is saying that the one he downloaded has DAX as one of the buttons here. And I said that is correct. That's the latest one. As time goes on, I will begin to use that also, but they're all the same. You will see how they look like. There's a reason why I want to begin from here, so you can have a holistic knowledge of all that we are doing. Now, so when you look at the right-hand side, look at the right-hand side of the Power BI window, you will see visualizations. You will notice visualizations. Now, this visualization are the different visuals. If you point the cursor on each of them, you will see the different visuals. These are the visuals we use. These are the visualizations we use in creating our dashboard. We are going to come to them later. And if you also look very closely below, you will see page 1 here. And that's, remember, we are in reports. You will see page 1, and you will see plus, the plus sign, which shows that you can also add another page. Let me click now. I just clicked and added page 2. That is just a general overview. But the first thing we will be doing in our today's class is to look at how to connect data from other applications into Power BI. Like I told us before, Power BI is not a standalone application. Power BI can perform data cleaning, it can perform data transformation, and it can perform the data analysis proper. Then you can also use it to perform data visualization. But that data you are using comes from somewhere. And one of the places that data can come from can be Microsoft Excel, or any of the database management systems like SQL, Microsoft Access, or it can also be data from the cloud. So first of all, the number one thing we're going to look at is, how do I connect data into Power BI? Now, take note, in Power BI, what you do is data connection. There's a difference between importing data and connecting data. If I import something, it means I have no relationship anymore with the source after importing it. But if I connect something, it means that I still maintain my relationship with the source. So what Power BI does is that it connects data. That is why we call it connection. It connects data. And because it is connection, it means that it still maintains relationship with the source. Where you're getting the data from, we call it the source. And when you import it into Power BI, you can use it to run any analysis of your choice. But then have it in mind that you are still maintaining a relationship with the source. So that's a connection. So how do we connect data from other sources? You click on the Home tab. Mind you, if you click on the Home tab, look at the Home tab here, one of the options that you will see is Get Data. That is the language, Get Data. So once you click on this cylinder shape, a dialog box will appear showing you all the possible sources, all the possible connectors Power BI has. From what you can see now, you will notice that Power BI has many connectors. We call them connectors. Any platform or application that allows Power BI to collect data from it is called a connector. We call it Power BI connector. Example, if you look at all now, you will see when you click all, you will see all the connectors. For instance, Excel is a connector. Text/CSV is a connector. XML is a connector. These are different connectors. PDF is a connector. You can see, if you scroll down, you see many connectors. Now, connectors are categorized into files, database, Microsoft Fabric, Power Platform, Azure, online services, and others. Now look at file. This is file. If I click on file now, you will see all the files. You can connect data from Excel file. You can connect from text to CSV file. You can connect from XML file, JSON file, and the rest of them. Now, look at database. When you click on database, you will see different databases where you can connect data from. This now, the one you connect from depends on the source of the data. If the source of my data is Microsoft Access, then I will have to choose Access. If you scroll down, you will see other databases like PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL is a database. I can choose to connect data from there, and so on. I can click on Fabric. Now, platform Azure. Azure is an online platform of Microsoft. Now, also, if you have your data online, for instance, one of the projects we're going to carry out is, remember that the 2024 Summer Olympic just ended. I can decide to go online to connect to the 2024 Summer Olympic. I can connect to 2020 Olympic. Assuming I want to conduct an analysis on it, I can go online and connect to it by using the online services. But for now, I want to practice how to connect data from Excel, because Excel is the commonest data source that we have. So, but first of all, before we begin the connection, let us see the data we want to connect. If I minimize, I will now go to my desktop and look at this folder here. This folder here is Power BI class. If I double click on it, I will see one folder and two Excel files. This is an Excel file, and this is an Excel file. If I double click on this also, I will see so many Excel files here. We're going to practice with them. Now let me go back. I want to connect to this GDP countries. I want to connect to the GDP country. Before I connect to it, let me open this Excel file. If I open this Excel file, you will notice that this is a data set that was collected, and it has country, it has subject descriptor, units, scale, year, and GDP. Now, I want to connect this data to Power BI, and I want to conduct an analysis using this data. The truth of the matter is that in my analysis, I don't have any need for this column, subject descriptor. I don't have any need for units. I don't have any need for scale. I only have need for country, year, and GDP. So what I will do is I will connect this data set to Power BI and use Power BI to clean this data of redundant columns. If you're ready for that, then let's go. I will minimize this and maximize my Power BI. I will maximize my Power BI. Now I'm going to connect to the data right now. I will connect to data right now. Just watch what I'm going to do now. To connect to the data, I will simply go to get data. Remember, the data I want to connect to is an Excel file. So I click on file, and this is my Excel. So I will select Excel. And once I select Excel, I will now go to connect. Look at this button here, connect. And I click on connect. When I click on connect, I will navigate to the location where I have my data set. If I have the data set in document, I could go to document, go to the folder where it is. But for now, I have my data set on the desktop folder. So I will go to the desktop. Inside the desktop, I will look for the folder that has the Power BI class. Open it. And this is the file I want to connect. GDP countries. I will select the GDP countries and then click on open. And once I click on open, what will happen now? The process of the connection will begin. A dialog box will appear showing me that data set. Remember that Excel file has only one sheet, and that is query 1. I will click on this box and see the preview of my data. If I have other tables here, I will see them lined up here. But because it's only one table, I will have to check this box. And once it is highlighted, now I have 2 options to select from. It's either I select load or I select transform data. Now listen very well. The one I will select will depend on what I want to achieve. Let me repeat. The one I will select will depend on what I want to achieve. Do I select load or do I select transform? You select load if the data you want to load is already clean and does not require any cleaning or any transformation. But if the data requires cleaning or transformation, please select transform data. Select transform data. And once I select transform data, automatically something unique will happen. And that is how powerful the Power BI is. Power BI opens an environment for me called Power Query, Power Query Editor. Please take note of this. The Power Query Editor is another platform that runs inside Power BI. Power BI Desktop comprises of 2 platforms in one. Take note of this. Power BI Desktop is made up of 2 platforms embedded in one. The first platform is the normal Power BI which is the Power BI model. We call it the model view. The one we opened initially is called the model view, the one behind. But when you choose transform, this particular platform comes out, and this is called the Power BI Query Editor. This is the environment where you perform data cleaning and data transformation. Please take note of this. This is the environment where you perform your data cleaning and data transformation. Now, for instance, I'd like us to take a good look at this Power Query. Let me expand it by clicking on this rectangular box, and it gets expanded. Now, if you look at this Power Query, First of all, you will notice the query we are trying to connect. Look at it here. Now, when you are trying to make a connection, that particular file you are connecting in Power BI, it is called a query. A query is just like asking a question, extracting an information. When you are giving a query in an office, it's more or less like they want to extract an information about why something happened. That's also exactly the same technique that plays here. We are extracting an information. It's either you're extracting some portion of the information or the entire information. That is why by the left-hand side of the query editor, you will see queries. You can see queries, and then you will see one showing that we only have one query here. And you will see the preview of the query. The first compartment is the left-hand side. We'll call it the queries. It displays the queries. I can have more than one query. The second one is the middle environment, where you have the view of your table, just as you can see it, the country, subject, descriptor, and the rest of them. By the right-hand side, you will see properties. Under properties, you will see name. Here now, I can choose to change the name of this query. Assuming I want to call it contact. Once I type contact, you will notice that the name of my query will change. So you can decide to change. If you don't like the name given to the table you are connecting from the source, then what you simply need to do is to change the name here. That's very important. Now, below the name is apply steps. This apply step does one unique thing. Any change you make in this data will show here. For instance, I don't want this column here. This column, I don't want it. Subject descriptor. It is not going to play any role in my analysis. Therefore, I want to remove it. How do I remove it? I can click on the column header, right-click on it, and choose remove. I've removed it. And when I remove it, if you come to apply steps, you will see the apply steps telling me that, hey, you removed column. Assuming I removed this column by mistake and I want to restore it back again, I will simply click on this X. And once I click on this X, it will reverse. If you're following me, can I have you respond in a chat? I'm following. Or any question, let me make sure I'm not just taking a walk. Let me have some responses. I'm following. Okay. Yes, one. Let me have another one. Okay. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful. So yeah, we can go now. So don't forget, I'm recording this. Try and go through the recorded one. By tomorrow morning, this one will follow suit immediately, and I encourage you to always go through them. Now, you can now see what I just showed you now. So I don't want this column. I don't want this column. I don't want this column. Why? They are not useful for me in my analysis. They are making my data set. They're making my query too big. And we call them redundant columns. So to remove this redundant column, Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Let me have you respond. Can you hear me now? Okay. 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 Beautiful. Please just try to always signify anytime you lose my voice. Okay, so we perform data cleaning by removing the code. Let me restore them back again. Okay, let me restore them back again. I remove this. So I have the columns back again. Let me remove this column. I click here. I right click on it and I choose remove. Alternatively, I highlight the column I want to remove, click on the home tab, and I come under the manage column. I click on remove. The same thing is applicable here. I click on remove. So what I've ended up doing now is removing redundant columns. And this is what we call data cleaning. I don't want those columns, I've removed them. Now, looking at this data again, you will notice something there too. And one thing you will notice is that if you come to the GDP, you will notice that some of the cells does not contain any value. And because they don't contain any value, you have to remove them. So how do we remove them? Because if we use this in analysis, it will bring some problems, so we have to clean it up. So how do we remove it? If I click on this arrow, your little knowledge of Excel will put you through here. If I click on this arrow, I will have a display of all this, so that if I scroll down to the end, I will see that particular empty cells. I will uncheck it. And once I uncheck it and click outside, once I uncheck it and click OK. Once I uncheck it and click OK, you will notice that it will go out because it's not needed. So all of them will go out. That's another thing. Now, finally, if you look at this, each of these columns, look closely by the right-hand side. If you look at the left-hand side, you will notice something there. Here, you have ABC 1, 2, 3. Here you have ABC 1, 2, 3. Here you have ABC 1, 2. These are called data types. Now, this column here now are alphabets. If you click on this ABC 1, 2, 3, you will now have to select which of the data types that best describes the column. Because this column is countries, which is alphabets, I will click here and decide to change it to text, ABC, text. You can see it has changed to text. If you come to year is more or less like dates. If you click here, you might need to check which of them gives me a better date option. If I choose this date and time, it will give me error. Therefore, because I'm dealing with 2019, 2020, which looks like a whole number, I can now change it to whole number. That is pretty better. Now look at this. These are GDP, they are values that will be involved in calculation. So you can see it's ABC 1, 2, 3, which is not good. You click on this, you can change it to whole numbers, and that is better. What we've done now is also data cleaning. I don't expect you to understand wholly what I've done now. I'm only demonstrating. What I'm still doing now is demonstration. I will explain to you what data type is, when to choose it, how to choose it, and the conditions that will warrant which one you will have to choose and leave the other. But for now, what you need to see is the manipulations I am doing. Now remember, all these manipulations are taking place in the query editor. Don't forget, query editor. So it is now time for us to load the data. What you do in the query editor is to perform what we call transformation. After the transformation, you now load the data into your data model. So I want to load the data into my data model now. What do? I click on the home tab. Look at the home tab. Then I go to close and apply. You can see the button there. Close and apply means close this query editor and apply the changes to the data model. Let me repeat. Close and apply means close this query editor, but apply the changes to my data model. So once I click on it, watch what will happen now. It has closed the query editor and it is applying, is loading the data now. Watch now. You know, the data has been loaded now. Eureka! The data has been successfully loaded now. How do I view the data that have been loaded? Watch this now. If you look at the right-hand side, you will see the data loaded. I hope you can see the right-hand side. If I click on this arrow, please, if the visual stuff is covering you, just drag it out. Now, looking at this, if I click on this arrow, did you see the headings? Country, GDP, year. Now, if I want to view this data now, I will go to the data table view. Now, the table view will now show me the data set. And look at it now. If I go to report, I will see nothing because I have not created any report. But if I go to the table view, I will see the table. If I go to model view, I will only see the model of one table for now. That is exactly what we mean when we talk about data connection. If you understood the data connection, can you type in the chat box and say, it's amazing? If you didn't understand, ask your question. I am with you, type, it's amazing. I am not with you, type, please repeat. Okay, the Solomon is amazing. Can I have others respond? Can I have you respond? Yes, okay. Bragidium, that's okay. Yes. Augustina, are you there? Stephen, are you there? Can I have you respond? Oh, can I have, okay, beautiful. Who else? Who again? Any question? Any question? I will send this data set as soon as what we have done. I will send the data set we use for this lesson to the WhatsApp group. As a matter of fact, once we finish, I will drop it in the WhatsApp group, connect it to your system, and try to practice. I know we have very busy schedules, but what you will do for me is to bring out at least 1 hour every night to try to go through what we've learned. If you do that, you will enjoy the class till the end. If you don't do it, then you will find it so difficult to cope up after each class. If that is well understood, let me connect another data set again. Watch again. I have one query connected, which is contact. One query connected. I want to connect to another table or data set. What do I do? I will simply go to the Home tab. I'll click on Get Data. The data I want to connect to is an Excel file. I will select the Excel file. I will click on Connect. And I will select the data set Excel 102 exercise. I will click on Open. And when I click on Open, guess what will happen? The Power Query is about to appear again. But this navigation bar will appear. In this particular data set has two sheets. I only want the sales data because I want to analyze the sales data. I select the sales data. But mind you, look at what I'm noticing in the data. Look at the view. The data is giving me null values here. What could be the problem? Why not let's see the data in Excel first? I cancel this. I will minimize my Power BI. Right there, I will look at the data. Let me open it. When I open it, let me see. Okay, look at the data set. See the first one. Of course, if you watch the video of the previous lecture, towards the end of it, you will see the link to all my Excel classes. The playlist, I placed it there for you. So you can go through Excel too to recall certain things that you've forgotten. Now this one is list functions. This is sales data. You notice that this sales data has this here, and that is possibly what was causing the problem. So I will have to remove these three columns by highlighting this, right click here, and choose delete. So I can only see the data set alone. Then once I save this, I can now minimize and go to my Power BI. Now click on Get Data. From File, I go to Excel Workbook. I click on Connect. I will now select Excel 102 exercise and click on Open. The navigation bar will appear, and I will select Cell Data, and you can see it is normal now. It is normal. You can see year, month, type, sales, person that. And when I'm done with that, if I want to perform transformation, I will click on Transform Data. But because this data has been transformed already, I don't need to go into Transform Data. I'll click on Load. What this load will do now is it will bypass the query editor, because the essence of entering the query editor is to perform cleaning. But already I've performed my cleaning in Excel. So I go ahead and load. And as I'm loading it, you can now notice that the sales data has appeared here. To view it now, I will click on it here, and you will see it appear here. That's amazing. Now, having connected to this data without transforming, assuming I realize that I need to make a change, I want to remove something here, and that will warrant my going back to query editor. There is no need to panic. What I simply do is click on Home, Then simply go to transform. Look at the transform. That same transform, once you click on transform, it brings you to the query editor. That's amazing. And right there in the query editor, I will see the two tables also. Anyone I click on will show. And possibly, I can now do what I want to do, either to remove a column or to do a cleaning or to do a transformation. That's quite clear. Is that clear? Can I have a response from the house? If that's clear, say it's clear. Because I wanted to practice this after now. Yes, let me have you respond. It is clear. It is clear. I have a question. Respond in the manner that is clear. I have a question. Let's go. Your response. Okay. Okay. Yes, more. You lost my audio. Okay, but can you hear me very well now? Can you hear me very well? Can you hear me now? Well now, can I have you? Okay, so which part of it did you not get me? Just ask where did you lose my audio? At what point? But my audio was clear from here. Check if it's yours. But at what point did you lose my audio? Yes, let me have your response. Before I continue, let me have your response. If we are all together, then I can move on. Yes. Nobody is responding. Can you hear me? Okay, the part where you will do transform after loading. All right. Look at what I said. Okay, let me load now. Let me load back this data. Now I am applying it now. Let me apply this. Now I've loaded it back again. At this point now, you realize that you need to make some transformations. Look at this. Once you click on the Home tab, from queries, you will see transform data. Click on this checked box, transform data. Once you click on this, the query editor will appear, showing you the two queries. And at this point now, you can make your changes now. I hope it's clear now. I hope it's clear. Some of us are not responding again. I hope they are still with us. Can I have? Yes, who is not? Is Bragidam still here? It's very clear. Okay. But as we seem to have lost some of us. Bragidam, are you still here? Are they sleeping? Stephen, are you still here? Okay, Stephen is still here, yes. What about Gideon? We seem to have lost Gideon. Gideon, are you still here? Let me have you respond before I allow you to go and rest. I think that's a good one. Okay. So any question? That's about the connection. So let me go ahead and load this data back again. Let me go ahead and load this data. And when I load this data, so I have this here now. So if I click on report, I will see nothing because nothing has been reported yet. If I click on table view, I can select any table from here to display. Then look at this now. If I go to data model, I will see the two tables in a model form, so without any relationship. I will see the two tables here, and you can see the headings. That is just that. So after this, from here now, I can decide to build a visual. But before then, I can save, click on File, and go to Save As. Then select a location. Once I click on Save As, I will select a location to save my file, and I can eventually save my file. You can choose any location of your choice, and your file gets saved. Then you continue your work. So we've connected this data, and meanwhile, assuming, okay, I'll put the file name, then I click on Save, and the file will be saved as my name. So from here now, I can begin my analysis. Assuming I want to now create a visual, let me just create a sample visual before we continue in our next class. Please look at what I'm going to do now. Let me work with this sales data. This sales data is series of cells made over a period of time. Look at the column year. If I want to know how many years involved, I will click on this arrow, and I will notice that it will have 2013, 2014, and 2015. I will go back. If I want to know how many months involved, I will click here. It will give me the unique months. Okay. If I want to know this is type, product. If you watch, you realize that so many products repeated at different times. It's just like you going to buy something, going again to buy the same thing on the same day or within a period of time. So these are individual transactions recorded. So if you want to know the unique transactions, you click on this arrow and you can see the unique transactions. So whenever you click on this arrow is called filter. If you did Microsoft Excel well, you will know about filters. That's why we try to teach Excel so well before we get into Power BI. Remember, you can go through my Excel. I've already tagged it in the first class. So salespersons, how many salespersons do we have? If I click on this arrow, I can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many regions do we have? If I click on this arrow, you can see I have central, north, south, west. If I want to, so these are categorical data. Now that we've seen this now look at sales. Sales has to do with the amount of money. Look at this now. In 2013, January, ice cream was sold by Bishop. And Bishop is in the West. This is the amount he sold. And this is the quantity he sold. And this is the order number. Every transaction has a unique order. Every transaction has a unique order. Now, let me just carry out one simple analysis as we end for the day, so that we can see the power of the report. I come to the report. I want to know how much that was realized from each region. I want to know how much was realized from each region. I may want to represent this in a column chart. I click on the column chart. Once I click on the column chart, the canvas, this environment is called the canvas. The canvas gets populated. I can expand the chart a little bit. Now, I will have to drag my region, or possibly I can click on this box here. And once I click on the box here, you will notice that this region enters into the x-axis. Then I click on cells, which is the amount. This, you will notice that the visual has been created. So from every indication, you will notice that central has the highest cells. And once you point the cursor on it, you see that the central region has a sum of 1,300,000 something, the rest of them. North followed, west follows, and south. This is Power BI for you. You can see how the Power BI has automatically summarized the data for you. I will go back to my report. I may decide to delete this report by clicking on it and hitting the delete key. Watch again. Let me populate it again and find out how much was realized from each year. I will go to year. Where is year? Look at year here. I will drag year to x-axis. I clicked and held it. Then I will click and hold cells and drag it to y-axis. It gives me what happened. You can see that it's showing us that from here, 148. Okay, sorry, I'm talking about sales amount, not sales person amount. Click on it. That's it. That's more of it. You can see that in 2013, this is what the company realized. In 2014, this is what the company realized. In 2015. Now, somebody may be asking me, do I have to delete the first visual before I create another one? The answer is no. We will come to it. We are not treating visuals now. I'm only demonstrating. So I can go ahead and delete, click on these three dots and remove the visual. That's a wonderful demonstration. How did you see it? I think we may need to stop here for today so that you will take time to go through the whole of my lessons. The two I've done already. So let me have your response. Any question? How do you see today's class? Is it that simple? Is Power BI still very hard? Does it look hard? You know, when you hear Power BI, it looks as if it's one hard thing. How are you looking at it? Can I have your response on how you see the course so far? Some people don't like online classes. They say, no, that online thing. But how do you see the online class? Don't you think, I think it looks like both of us are there together. How do you describe it? Oh, yes, exactly. Yes, Solomon, you are correct. It's Excel made easy. Absolutely, that's a good way to summarize it. It's Excel made easy. What Excel can do in 30 minutes, Power BI can do it in just a second. Yes, let me have others to respond. How did you see the class? Is it that difficult to understand? I think it looks like I just visited your house and we're on the same table learning. Just describe it how you think it is, please. Let me have others respond quickly. If you are with us, just respond. It's easy, yeah. David said it's easy. But Gideon, how do you see it? 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 Let me have your response before we end this class. How do you see the class today? So easy, I guess. Expect the video on the platform, the link to the video on the platform tomorrow morning. Try and bring out time and replay it. The two data sets we used, I will send them to you. Try and work on them, and then you'll be on your way to the top. Gideon is not talking again. I hope he has not slept off. I think at this point, we'll have to call it a day or a night. It's been awesome. Thank you for coming for the class. I will give you tomorrow to... Okay, you already responding. Okay, Gideon, how do you see today's class? I want you to respond. No, any question? How do you see it? Is Power BI getting easier? Is it simpler? What was your thought about it before now? And what are you thinking about it now? Okay. Yes. It's practical oriented. That's the reason why you have to read along with me. Once you practice it, you will enjoy it. I am telling you, Power BI is super. It's super. It's super. So thank you. I will post this lecture tomorrow morning. I will give you tomorrow. I'm not going to come on live class tomorrow. I will give you tomorrow to go through the lecture, make notes, and snap the note and send to our platform. I'll give you tomorrow to go through between today, tomorrow, to go through the lecture, snap it, and send to the platform. I will send the two data sets we will use, and I'm going to make a video of the next class we have and send to you. Please just bring out time to go through it, and you will enjoy it. Thank you for being in class today. I think we'll call it a night. God bless you. See you in our next class, possibly next tomorrow. Good night. Good night, sir.